Okay, so ghosting versus not responding, what is the actual difference? We're going to cover this topic today, and I'm actually covering this because I do think that there is an appropriate time and place to stop responding to anybody or to somebody in particular. And we're going to talk about what that is, okay? This is not me saying that ghosting's okay, but this actually came from one of our community members in the personal development school, and I just thought it raised such an important topic. So in today's video, we are going to cover first and foremost what ghosting is versus if there's ever an appropriate time to just stop communicating with somebody. And if so, what characteristics actually allow you to qualify for that. And then at the end of this video, we will talk a little bit about another angle or approach you can take if there's something unhealthy or not working in your life, and you know that you don't want to stay in contact or you want to go no contact, but you also don't want to ghost. And we'll talk about the healthy and unhealthy components of both so that you are able to look at anytime that you've been ghosted or did any ghosting or just stopped answering to somebody that maybe you didn't want to continue a relationship with and decide whether or not you made a healthy choice. And also really quickly before I dive in, if you want to access a free course for life all about attachment styles and intimacy, and you want to actually keep that course, it's a $200 value. You get to download it and keep it completely for free. We're doing this just for the month of March. You can use the link in the description down below, and it's actually a 7-day free trial to every course at PDS. But when your trial ends, you get to keep that course for life. And it's really all about different attachment styles, their patterns around sex, intimacy, closeness, what things you're going to see, what triggers they tend to have, and really how to approach the unhealthy or healthy components of that with really great strategies. So this community member, an amazing student, actually shared, hey, I'm in a situation where I had a really unhealthy ex. This person reached back out after quite a long period of time of us not being in contact and tried to pick back up the conversation. But I knew that this person was somebody who was going to violate my boundaries, had in the past, really was bringing me on this roller coaster relationship. And I've come a really long way in my own healing. Do I have to keep responding to this person every time they reach out just as a means to not ghost them? And is there an appropriate time to ghost somebody or to stop responding? And so this is what I really want to dive into because there is a time and place for some of these things. Here's the first thing. Ghosting versus not responding. One of the biggest differences is if you're ghosting somebody, there are a few underlying roots. What is the intent? What is the emotional state? But what was the state of the relationship prior to ghosting? If you have somebody, for example, who's your ex and they reach out to you once a year to say happy birthday and you don't respond, does that mean you're ghosting them? No. Do you need to respond just because they reach out? Also, no. In fact, there is an appropriate time and place where you just don't have to answer somebody if they're an unhealthy person in your life. Ghosting, and why ghosting is so painful, is somebody completely disappears from an existing, consistent form of communication and relationship without explanation. It's really this final act of disconnection where somebody chooses not to return. And it may be because they're emotionally overwhelmed or fear confrontation or any of those things. But the ghosting piece and why ghosting leaves people in so much pain and suffering and hurt is because there's usually something happening. So you maybe are talking to somebody every day, have been dating them for a few weeks or months. I've actually seen people ghost in the middle of a 2-year relationship, for example. I mean, all of those things are obviously going to leave somebody with so many questions, so many things left unanswered, so much lack of closure, and so much confusion and pain. Okay, so ghosting, not good, not healthy. But if you are somebody who's been in a situation where you do not have any sort of standing relationship with somebody, and if you know that despite trying to retreat from that person, they tend to violate boundaries frequently, or they're not a healthy person to be in a relationship with, or they're maybe even just trying to draw you in for their own benefit in a way that could actually hurt you, right? So for example, let's say there's an avoidant in your life. And let's say that they kind of keep pulling on your heartstrings and they date you for a little bit and then leave and leave out of the blue or all of a sudden. And if that keeps happening, I mean, what are you supposed to do? Just keep responding to them every time and just let your feelings come back online? No. So it is appropriate at times to stop answering people, in particular if that person's unhealthy. If bringing into connection with that person or spending time investing in that person, you know, is going to be something that is hurtful or harmful to you. If you feel like there's not really a healthy active resolution, or if you feel like hey, you know what? I just don't feel any need to continue on this conversation and I don't really owe this person anything, then it's okay. However, there is another angle to this. And this other angle is that if somebody is your ex, there is a longstanding relationship, you can also address it directly. And I'll be honest, this is probably what I would do in this particular situation. If I had a longstanding ex, I would say, hey, I appreciate that you keep reaching out and that you're trying to re-engage. For me, I've really decided that it's best for my well-being if we just stay out of contact for the foreseeable future, but I really do wish you the best. And I hope the next season of life is happy for you or exciting for you or whatever, right? You would just leave it on a really good note. And at that point, if then the person proceeds to keep reaching out and talking to you, well, then you would stop answering because you would show that you're actually seeing your boundary through. So that is it for today. I thought this was a really important topic as it relates to our relationships. If you have questions about this, let me know in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this channel and don't want to miss our future series of the avoidant and signs that they may be ghosting, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like, share, and make sure you stay tuned for future videos.